Thank you very much for having me, first of all. It's a pleasure to be here and talk to you today. My name's Simon Whatson. I'm a principal consultant at Efficio, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about myself and my career at Efficio so far, and also spend a bit of time talking more generally about Efficio, our people. So, Simon Whatson, I've been working for 14 years now. I started my career in industry. I worked for a plumbing and heating merchants called Wolseley. You may have heard of them. I was based in Reading, and I was in their supply chain department for about 2.5 years. After I left university, I'd studied maths at university. I'd also done an Erasmus year in Strasbourg, so I'd got my French to a pretty good level. And when I joined Wolseley, they were keen to essentially consolidate their European operations and look where procurement synergies could be, and so they were looking for people with kind of, scientific type qualifications who could speak a language, and so that's why I went there. I had a great experience there, like I said, 2.5 years, but then after that time I put my CV onto Monster, as you did back in the day, and suddenly got a lot of recruiters explaining to me all about this career in consulting, which I'd never really heard of before, and it sounded really interesting. It really kind of piqued my attention, and so I joined a company called BrainNet, which at the time was a very similar type of company to Efficio. That's to say, it was a procurement and sourcing specialist. It was based primarily in Germany, so I was going to Germany quite a lot. Sort of got also through that managed to get to a pretty good level in German, and after about 5 years that company was acquired by one of the big four, and it was an opportunity for me at that point to kind of assess my career, where I was. I'd been in procurement and supply chain for almost 8 years by that point, and so it felt like a good time to think, is there anything else out there? And so I joined Oliver Wyman, which is a strategy consulting house. I'm sure you all know of that company. And I spent 2 years there. I really felt it made me more rounded in terms of my business experience. Mainly did strategy projects, but I also found that I wasn't able to use my procurement expertise that I've built up over 8 years. Yeah, in hindsight, that's not very surprising. But it also meant that I couldn't really play the sort of senior roles on projects that I was playing at BrainNet. So by that point, I'd been in touch with Efficio a few times already. I'd known a lot of people who had worked there. And since I joined Efficio, my career I felt has really taken off, and I've been very, very happy there. I've been very lucky as well, and it's actually a little bit of a timeline here of my time at Efficio since 2015. So when I joined as a senior hire. I joined as a senior manager, as it's known, and my first major assignment was leading what was probably our biggest engagement at the time with a water utility. And we had a team of about 12 to 15 consultants there. I think it went up to 15 at one point. And there was clearly a lot of senior oversight on that project as well, so I wasn't alone. I wasn't just thrown in with no oversight whatsoever, but very quickly got my feet under the table. It helped that water utility was based just half an hour from where I lived. In fact, I even cycled several times. So a consultant who cycles to work is a bit of a rarity, but I managed to really kind of get that work-life balance as well in that first project with Efficio. And within about a year, I was lucky enough to get promoted to principal, which is what I am now. And after having been promoted to principal, I got the freedom from Jens, our CEO, to set up an internal organisation within Efficio looking at how to make our project delivery more efficient. It's a really good example of what Efficio is like, and I'll come on to Efficio in a minute. It's a very open, kind of entrepreneurial place where they love new ideas, and I think that was evidence where they essentially allowed me to do that. So if you can imagine, a relatively senior resource in the business being taken out of client delivery, being able to build up something internally, and they gave me a team of consultants to do that as well. So that was a really interesting experience. And on the side, I kind of kept my client delivery work going, but with sort of our kind of shorter opportunity assessment type projects. I also took 2 months of parental leave then as well when our third child was born, which again Efficio was very accommodating for. In terms of now, I've now gone back into the client work. I've privileged to lead a number of client engagements, many of them quite large. Got a big pipeline of sales opportunities, so that's a big part of my role now, as well as delivery. A lot of my work is based on client development, whether that's selling on existing clients or whether it's trying to get new leads from my network or build my network, that type of thing. That's a big incentive for me, is essentially that kind of sales generation. Also lead Efficio's thought leadership. So every year we do some thought leadership. We run a survey. It's actually what I was mentioning before about digital procurement, and it's something which has been fantastic for me to be involved in and lead, because it's really helped me to learn a lot more about the industry, other than just doing projects for clients. And yeah, again, very lucky in Efficio that I get to engage with a lot of the different functions. So whether it's doing things with the marketing team to help them, whether it's helping out the recruiting team by coming to speak to recruiters, that type of thing. It's also an important part of my role, because I think we need to build the firm and we need people to kind of be committed to doing that. So it's a bit of an overview of me. Just to introduce Efficio to you, I'm sure you're all familiar with who we are and what we do. We're 500 people now. A lot of those are consultants. We've got 10 offices around the globe. The key ones that we recruit in the hubs are London, Germany, in Düsseldorf, New York, and we also have an office in the Middle East where we recruit from. We've got a huge number of nationalities. It keeps changing, this number, but it's over 40. And so we're a very international company. We offer clients big return on their fees. So what we do is we generate procurement savings, and we help to sustain and implement those. Through doing that, we've sourced almost every single different procurement category, different type of product or service that you could think of. And the way we work with clients is we try to make them more effective. So rather than doing consulting to our clients, we try to do it with them and build their capability. So that's very important for the type of person we're looking for as well, which we'll come on to. We've done 500 projects or more with clients. We get very good feedback, and a lot of our business or sales comes from referrals, where either a client moves company and then they want us to work for their new company, or in the industry word gets around that we do good work, and so we get work that way. The way we like to differentiate ourselves from our competition is mainly around our eFlow platform offering. Now, I've got a slide on the eFlow platform, but at a conceptual level, this is about bringing technology, insights, and expertise to our clients through a platform. So we have technology, but it's not just about technology. If you can imagine, Efficio has been doing the same type of work for almost 20 years now. It's built up a lot of knowledge and insight, and it's how we bring and apply that knowledge and insight to our clients which can really make a difference. And that's how we think we're different from a lot of our competition, because we found a way of delivering that to clients in a way that they like to receive it. So it's not just about having big consulting teams on the ground. We can also be flexible with a model and offer more of a kind of light touch offering as well, where they can access things through our technology. Having said that, we are not a tech company, and we will never be a tech company. Just to be clear, we are a services company. We're hands-on. 90% of what we do is the doing, not the strategy writing. We do that, but we also implement what we write with our clients. And as I've mentioned, we very much work in partnership. Okay, so this is just a map of where we've worked in blue and where our offices are. As I've said, London is our hub, and then we've got other offices as well where we recruit to. A snapshot of our clients. This is not all of them. I think maybe just a couple of things to point out. A lot of our work, probably 50% of our revenue today, is done through the private equity channel. So private equity companies, they'll buy sort of, small to medium-sized companies, sometimes larger, and obviously they have a strong focus on profit and improving company performance, and that's where they like to call us in. Whether they do that at the due diligence phase to ask our opinion on how much procurement opportunity there is in the company before they buy it, or indeed once they bought the company, bring us in to help deliver some of that value. And you can imagine if a private equity company has a whole portfolio of companies, if you do a good job in one, they kind of open up that portfolio. By the same token, if you do a bad job in one, you can. So it's very important that we maintain our level of quality. Again, something we'll come and talk about when we talk about the people who work for us. Yeah. So you can see from here that we're quite industry agnostic. There's not really an industry we haven't worked in. It's another important thing to get across. Procurement, whilst it needs to be done differently in each sector, the principles remain the same, which means we can work across sectors.